guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is a very special one. We're going to try out all the best sellers that I could find in the Sephora's website as well as Ulta's website. Some of them that I tried for the first time and some of them were like staples in my collection. So if you want to see what are the best sellers and how we achieve this look, then please keep on watching. Begin. The first brow product, the brow product that comes in like the top priority in Ulta as well as Sephora is the Benefit Precisely My Brow pencil, and I picked out mine in the shade 4.5 Neutral Deep Brown. So let's apply this. This is absolutely not new in my collection. This one is new. Let's begin. I generally always do my brows beforehand, but today we're going to do it on camera. Now once we have the brows in place, I'm just going to brush it up with the spoolie on the other side, and this 4.5 shade is absolutely perfect for me. It's like a very cool toned brown black, which I absolutely love. Now let's move on to the primer. The primer that came up in both the website, I would say, is Benefit's Porefessional primer. So 2 out of 2 from Benefit, which is, I mean, this doesn't come as a surprise, neither does the brow pencil, because it's been like a staple in my collection from like very long time. So I'm just going to take this. If you've not seen this, I mean, where were you? It's like a very moussey consistency, and you can like visibly see the difference as soon as I apply this. I'm mainly going to focus this on the center of my face because it just smoothens out everything. It's definitely like a silicone based primer. So the main purpose of this primer is to just smoothen out every texture or line on the skin and just give like a smooth base. I just do it everywhere, just like that. It just sets like very matte. So now let's move on to the foundation. Now, when I looked in the foundation section for Ulta as well as Sephora, there were 2 that came up like right up above. One was the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft Matte Longwear Foundation. I don't have a full bottle of foundation from this, but I do have like a sample version, so we will be trying this. And the second one was the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation, which I always try out on this channel. So I thought this will be good to try. It comes like this on both the side. I just took this one out because these were the darker shades. I am the shade 320 in Pro Filter. I'm gonna mix 2 shades together just because there's not like 320 in that shade range. I'm gonna mix these 2, and this one is 255 and 345. So let me mix and then I'll get back. This would be the right time to use up the samples. This is definitely on the darker side, as you can see. But once we'll mix it with the other shade, it'll be fine. Let's start with that and see where we go. Because one is clearly too dark and the other one is clearly too yellow and light. See, while mixing, we'll get a good shade. That's a good match. So if you do have like these samples and you do not have the correct shade, now you know, just mix and match and create your custom shade. This foundation is definitely not my first preference. This definitely feels like more on the matte side. Not that I do not like matte foundation, because I'm more of like a combo skin person. So I do like matte foundation, but this definitely feels makeup-y on my skin. It doesn't feel like skin-like finish. Definitely you can like feel like you're wearing makeup. It's not heavy, but like look-wise, you definitely know that you're wearing makeup. So that's blended pretty well, I would say. Now, let me clean up this mess and let's move on to the concealer. Okay, now for the concealer, there are 2 that popped up right up my screen, and that was like the Too Faced Born This Way concealer, which I always use here on this channel, and the second one was Rare Beauty one. Today is the day to test out all the samples, so we're going to test out Rare Beauty. So let's begin. I feel like 250 would be a good match, but we'll see. Let's take this. I'm going to take this chair is making so much noise. I'm going to take a very little tiny little bit of 250. That can be light. We'll see. We will see. We'll have to make it work, but that is clearly light. It's spreading very nicely. I mean, I didn't even take that much. Okay, we have to blend this baby out. Definitely on the lighter side. I'm going to take my foundation brush and just blend the edges so that the foundation is melting into the concealer and there's no like harsh edges. Much better. We're gonna make it work. Make it work. So I think that's how good it's gonna get. Now let's move on to the powder. The powder, the number one powder that popped up on Sephora's website was the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Finish Airbrush powder, and this one is in number 2. You can see there's a good dent going on here. That's how much I love this. So I'm going to take a powder puff, just take a little bit, tap it on the back of my hand and quickly set my under eyes first before it creases, because that was a liquidy concealer, the Rare Beauty one, and if I do not seal the concealer, it's definitely gonna crease. Not because that concealer is bad by any means, just because I have hooded eyelids, so you will definitely be able to see like the product collecting on the eyelids. So now once it's set, now we'll come back to this powder, but let's finish off with the liquid products. I have one more blush to talk about. So the number one blush that came up on like the Sephora's website was the Rare Beauty blushes, the liquid blushes. I have mine in the shade Love and Grace. I feel we should use Love just because I'm wearing more of like a warm tone look, so I feel like this would go better. Now this blush is super pigmented, so you definitely don't need much. I'm going to take a tiny little bit on the back of my hand, like I scraped off the excess and then I just dabbed it in the back. I'm going to take the blush brush and then start patting it, and that would give like a very rusty terracotta vibe on our cheeks. That's what we are looking for. If you go like this, it'll be subtle, but if you like pat it right from the wand on your face, it's going to be too much, just because the shade is also so dark. But it's a very good blush. Like you can see on the back of my hand, like look at the tint, and it's like set already. I feel like we can apply a little bit more, just because we are going to apply. See, I'm going to scrape off the wand and apply the rest in the back of my hand, just because we are going to apply powder on top of like this blush, so we can go a little more crazy with the blush. And this blush brush is like perfect for it. This is the BK Beauty Angie Hot and Flashy blush brush. This is A507. Like that. Now we are all blushed on our cheeks. And I love this shade. Love this shade. I mean, this is the shade Love. Just like that. Now let's move on to the powder. Just let's powder our face with the same powder, the Charlotte Tilbury powder. And I'm going to take a big fluffy brush. Just go on the entire face and set my face. And this will definitely settle out the blush too, just because we are applying a powder. I've definitely not worn all these bestsellers together, so I don't know how it's gonna look, but so far so good. The base is looking really nice. Now let's talk about a bronzer. The bronzer that came up the list on both Sephora as well as Ulta was the Hoola bronzer by Benefit Cosmetics. So we have like 3 from Benefit Cosmetics so far, which is like high up there, I would say. So I don't have like a Benefit Hoola bronzer just like in a single, but I have it in this blush palette. I have the Hoola bronzer right here, so I'm going to apply this. So let's take a bronzer brush. I mean, this is not a bronzer brush. It is a blush brush from Real Techniques. I use it for bronzer. just warm up my face using that Hoola bronzer. I mean, this is like a cult favorite product. It's very, very staple in my collection. I always have Hoola with me. So yeah, it's not a surprise that people like this because yeah, this has been running from what? 2012? It's a pretty old product. Not this particular one, but like the Hoola bronzer in general. And you can see like it gives a very nice warmth on the face. It's not overly warm and it's not overly cool. It gives like a good definition. Now let's move on to the highlighter. The liquid highlighter that came up the list was the Charlotte Tilbury, the liquid highlighting wand, and the powder highlighter, which I'm going to use today, that came up the list in Sephora, was the Rare Beauty highlighter. I was very, very surprised to see this because this is not like an old product by any means. It's a pretty new product and I have mine in the shade Mesmerize. So let's apply that. This definitely, I don't think it will like go with this look just because I have like everything warm tone today. And this is more of like a pinky highlighter, but we're going to apply it no matter what. So look at that. Look at that blinding effect. I'm going to just first apply it and then buff it. Because this is pretty blinding. If you like a blinding highlighter, this is definitely going to be right up your alley. So that's good enough. I'm just gonna go a little subtle on the highlighter. I buffed it out as much as I could, but you can still see all the vibrancy of the highlighter. Now I'm just gonna set my face, and the setting spray that popped up right up there was the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. So I'm just gonna set my face with it. And this is like without a doubt, I mean, it's again like a oldie but a goodie product in the makeup industry, especially for like setting sprays. I mean, this should be like right up there always. And this is the one that I was always expecting. Okay, let's move on to the lips before we move on to the eyes. The lip liner that just popped up on the Ulta's website on like number 1 is the Nyx lip liners, and I have several of them. Without a doubt, this is like superb quality. Now the question is, which one should we wear? I'm going to use the lip pencil in the shade brown, and that might go really good with this look. So let's see this. And this is like a very chocolatey brown shade. I'm just gonna fill in my lips with the same lip liner in the shade brown, just because I want to just go with a gloss on top of it. But the lipstick on like the top of the Sephora's website was like Rare Beauty lipsticks. I don't have Kind Words lipsticks with me, so I'm going to skip that step. But for the lip gloss, this one was high up there, and this is the Tower 28 lip jellies, like the milk lip glosses. And I have actually several shades with me, but I'm going to use the shade Cashew because that's like a warm tone nudie shade, and I feel like that would go so good. Oh, look at that. Yummy, yummy. Okay, now let's move on to the eyes finally. Now, the eyeshadow palette, let me give you options. When I looked at the Ulta's website, there were 2 majorly that popped up. One was like the Morphe eyeshadows. I don't have like enough Morphe eyeshadows to play with, especially the ones that were shown in like top up there, and Morphe getting closed, I didn't want to use that. The second eyeshadow palette that popped on the Ulta's website was this Faced Natural Nudes eyeshadow palette. So I'm going to use this. It's been quite some time, and I love this palette, so I'm going to use that. On Sephora's website, Sephora collection palettes came in like the top priority, and I don't have the Sephora eye palettes. And the second one was the Dior 5-pan quint. I'm not a bougie person like Dior. So, I mean, I have a Dior mascara, which is going to rank up right high up there. So I'm not going to say that, but I don't have like Dior eyeshadows. So I'm going to use this. Let's create some warm, beautiful, chocolatey tone eye. We'll start off with this shade, Maple. Oh my God. I'm getting excited to use this shadow. Like it's been quite some time. And look how beautiful caramel brown this is. I'm going to place this all across my crease. I'm using the Refer brush number 15. It's like a more of a round buffing brush and just blends seamlessly the shade into the crease. It's a perfect tone for me, especially for the crease area. Let's do a halo eye. Why not? Why not? Gonna do the same thing on the other eye too. The easiest way to start off with the halo eye is just by placing the shade here in the inner corner and the outer corner, and then start blending it all across. Again, you don't need like precision for this step, especially because this is like the background of the look. You just need like a seamless blend in the crease. And I'm going to take the same shade on the lower lash line too. And for this, I'm using the Refer brush number 26. It's a beautiful chubby pencil brush, which is perfect for the lower lash line. Just like that. Now, we're going to start slowly building up the eyeshadow. Now I'm going to dip into the shade Cocoa, and then I'm going to go with this shade, which is Truffle. So first taking Cocoa, it's more of like a cool tone, rosy brown shade. Gonna first take that in the outer and the inner corners, and then slightly gonna blend that into the crease, but keeping it a little lower. I love this tone. It's perfectly matching the sweater that I'm wearing. And when I'm patting it, you can clearly see that difference, right? Like it definitely has that little bit of like a rosiness, the red to it. And that just makes it a little more special. And this palette is like perfect for neutral eye looks. I use this like quite often for my office looks. It's been quite some time that I've not played with it, but I love, love, love this palette. I'm going to take the same shade on the lower lash line, blending everything up so that the blend is seamless. I love a good chocolatey eye if you don't know me. Okay, now I'm going to dip into the shade Truffle, which is like the deepest brown of the palette. And I'm going to again do the same thing. Outer corners and inner corners. Look how deep and chocolatey it is. Love it. So when you're going in the inner corner, just tap it and then just flick it. Just to melt it with the other shades. Same here in the outer corner. Tap it to disperse it. And then just flick it inwards. And then we can go with blending. I'm gonna do the same thing on the lower lash line. I'm using more and more like smaller blending brushes as deeper I'm getting with the eyeshadow. So this is number 13 from Refer. I'm not gonna focus mainly on like the center of my eyelid, just blending the edges so that there's no harsh lines. Not focusing on the center just because I have to cover that up with a shimmer. Look how smoky and chocolatey it is. Oh my god. I can totally rock like a whole matte eye look with this too. But you know me, I love a good shimmer. So now I'm gonna first take this shade Sugared Chestnut, and then I'm gonna take this golden light shade right on the center. So let's take this Sugared Chestnut. And this is definitely more like smoky. So I'm going to take that right there in the inner and the outer corner of like the blank space. Just placing it there, not worried about the blending right now. You can totally put this all across the eyelid and like make it like a chocolatey, smoky eye. Because that's a gorgeous shadow. I'm just going to mix my cool tones and warm tones together just to create a little bit more dimension on the eye look. So I'm just placing it right now. Okay, now I'm going to dip into this golden light shade on the same brush and just place that right there on the center. Can you see that pop? That's exactly what I'm looking for. I mean, this pop is magical. And I'm just gonna mix that with that cool tone chocolatey shade that we placed on the other sides. Nice. Okay, now I'm just gonna take that flat but fluffy brush, which is number one from Refer. Just taking with no additional product, just blending the edges. Just so that there's no like harsh lines of the matte to the shimmer. Just like that. Now I'm gonna, for the inner corners, I'm gonna take this shade, which is Sparkling Sand, just a tiny little bit. And I'm gonna pop that right there. Ah, perfect. Perfect. Let me just finish off my eyes with some liner, because I generally use my Wet n Wild liquid liner and that just performs beautifully for me. So I'm just going to finish that and then come right back for the mascara. Okay, now when the eyes are all done, let's move on to the mascara. And the number one mascara that popped up was the Dior Show Mascara from Dior. So let's apply this. I have no idea. I've not even like opened this mascara, so I don't know how is it gonna look. So let's see. It's like a big fat wand. Oh, that's a good mascara with like one coat. Can you see the difference? Like it's a good fluffy lash as compared to that one which we don't have anything there. I like it. Let me just build up a second coat and I'll get right back. I'm definitely loving the way it's curling my lashes. And that's my final look. And that is using all the best sellers from Sephora as well as Ulta. I love the way how it turned out. This is like my happy place, playing with like the neutrals and the bronzes, and this is like all up my alley. So I really loved using all these products all at once. No wonder this is there in the best sellers because I'm loving it. Do let me know, how do you feel about this look? How do you like these products? If you have like a holy grail out of these bestsellers that I used today, do let me know in the comment section below. But otherwise, you know what to do. Do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring the notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post next. I generally upload 3 videos every single week, every Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.